to the next point. We should ensure whatever we say is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction.
Hello, my dear students at home. I'm Abbas Shehu, your commerce teacher as usual. Today we are going to look at a topic known as trade terms and abbreviations. We are going to take a look at some terms that are used in commerce, in buying and selling, and also some abbreviations. Under this topic, we intend to cover the following areas. Number one, we'll look at the first term, which is known as discount. Look at the meaning of discount, types of discount, and reasons why discount is offered. Then we look at the second term known as carriage forward. Then the third term known as carriage paid. The fourth term known as X warehouse. The fifth one known as X works. The sixth one known as cash source and its types. Then we look at credit source before we go into abbreviations. Now the first one, which is known as discount. What is discount, my dear students? Discount simply means a reduction in the prices of goods and services. A reduction where goods are sold and the seller decides to reduce a particular sum of money. We call that particular reduction as a discount. Prices of goods and services are reduced to encourage buyers to buy more or in bulk, and also to make prompt payment. Customers of goods and services always look forward to reduction of prices, which gives them more purchasing power, meaning buying more of such goods and services. So from what you have said, we'll be able to know or understand that discount is a term that is used in buying and selling, and it simply means reduction in prices of either goods or services. And this reduction is normally offered or given by the seller to the buyer. And it's normally given in order to make the buyer to buy more. Or when the buyer buys the goods on credit, for him to pay the amount within a particular given period of time, to pay promptly. And that's talking about what we mean by discount. Now we go to talk about types of discounts. There are several types of discounts, but we are going to discuss only three here. The first one we have is cash discount, followed by trade discount, and then the last one, seasonal discount. Now, the cash discount is a reduction in the prices of goods and services in order to encourage prompt payment. This is where goods are sold on credit. Now the seller gives the buyer a discount in order to encourage the buyer to pay in good time, to pay within the specific period of the source, of the term of source. This is usually given by a seller to the buyer, like we said, to encourage him to pay for the goods within a specific period of time, to pay promptly. That's talking about cash discount. Then we have trade discount. This is a reduction given to encourage bulk purchase. The more goods are bought, then the more reduction that will be given by the seller to the buyer. It encourages large or bulk purchase. You buy more, you are given the the amount of the goods is reduced as you continue to buy more. So also the amount you are paying will continue to reduce. You buy more, you pay less. More, you pay less. Then we go to the third one, which is a seasonal discount. This is a reduction given during festivities to encourage people to buy. When there's a festival, sellers offer discounts to buyers so that everybody will be able to buy, so that people will be able to buy, so that people will be encouraged to buy. And it is usually given to cover the period of that particular festivity. The moment the festivity is over, then the discount is withdrawn. The discount is withdrawn. That's talking about types of discount. Now we go to reasons why discount is given. There are so many reasons why a seller will decide to give to his buyers discount, will decide to reduce the price. The first one is to attract customers. When discount is offered to buyers are attracted and they buy more. They rush to buy. Unlike when there's nothing like discount, there is nothing like reduction in terms of the prices. Number two, to encourage prompt payment. This is particular to cash discount. To encourage prompt payment, to make the buyer pays within the particular period given, within the period specified as part of the terms of trade. Number three, to encourage bulk purchase. And this is particular to trade discount, where reduction is made, is given, is offered in order to encourage people to buy more of goods or service. Number four, to reduce the risk of debts becoming unrecovered, to reduce the problem of having what is known as bad debt, unrecoverable debt. By the time you sell goods on credit to your customers and you offer them discount, that discount will attract them, will make them to pay. And by the time they pay, you have no problem of not recovering your money. Number five, it helps in reducing the problem of capital being tied down. This is particular to cash discount when goods are sold on credit. By the time you offer discounts, the buyer will be encouraged, will be prompted to pay in good time. And by the time he is able to pay, by the time he is able to do so, you have your money with you to continue your daily buying and selling instead of your money to be tied down with somebody as a debtor. Number six, it increases the profit of a business. It increases the profit of a business because the more you are able to sell, the more you are expected to have profit. The more you have volume of sales, the more it's expected that you will be able to have more profit. Let's talking about the end of the first term, which is a discount. Now we go to the second term. Remember, we're talking about terms used in trade, terms that are used, that are associated in terms of trade. We have dealt with the first one, which is a discount. Now we go to the second one, which is a carriage forward. Carriage forward. This is a situation where the buyer is responsible. The buyer is responsible for the payment of carriage of his goods, but when dispatched, the buyer is the one that will take the responsibility of taking charge of transporting the goods from the point of the seller to his own place. The buyer is in charge of that. It is not the responsibility of the seller to do so. It is the buyer that will take charge of that. And by the time a buyer take charge of taking his goods, take responsibility of taking his goods, transporting his goods, we call that carriage forward. And it It means that the price quoted in the invoice, the price quoted in the invoice by the seller does not include transportation fare. That is just what it means. Then we go to the third term, which is carriage paid. Carriage paid. And this is just the opposite of our carriage forward. In carriage paid, the seller is the one that takes responsibility of taking the goods to his own place, down to the place of the buyer. And this is done because in the price given for the goods, the cost of carriage is quoted, is captured, it's included. So the buyer now will just wait after paying for the goods for the seller to take charge of taking the goods down to his place. We call this carriage paid. Now we go to the fourth term, which is X warehouse. X warehouse. This is a quotation of price of commodity which includes all the delivery expenses from the seller's warehouse. From the seller's warehouse. It refers to the term used in stating that the buyer of goods is responsible. The buyer of goods is responsible for arranging and paying for them to be transported from the seller's warehouse. As you can hear or see, for those of you that are watching, we talk about warehouse. X warehouse. It deals with the seller's warehouse. The seller has a warehouse where his goods are stored before taking to the market, before taken by different buyers. In this case, the buyer is the one that will take responsibility of taking the goods, but from the point of the seller's warehouse. From the point of the seller's warehouse. The moment the goods are taken from the point of production by the producer or the seller, then the buyer will now take charge of taking them from the seller's warehouse to his place of business. But it is the duty of the seller to take the goods from wherever the goods are bought or produced to his warehouse. That is all that he does. And the moment the goods are taken there, he left the onward transportation of the goods in the hands of the buyers. This is referred to as X warehouse. It deals with transportation of goods, taking of goods. That is normally handed over. That is normally given to the buyer to do, not the seller. We have number 5 term, which is known as X works. Usually abbreviated as EXW. It's a term used to describe a situation where the buyer is responsible for the delivery charges except loading on the road or the rail. This is a term that deals with where the seller takes charge of only transporting the goods to the point of a rail station where the goods are to be transported using rail. If the goods are to be transported using rail, the seller will take charge of taking the goods right to the railway station. And from there, he will leave the buyer to take control of taking the goods or paying for the transportation of the goods to wherever the goods will be taken to. The same thing applies to where the goods are, for example, to be taken by road. If the goods are to be taken by road, not by air, the seller will take charge of taking the goods right to the point of where the goods will be loaded into the vehicle that will transport the goods. By the time he does that, he now concludes his deal with the buyer as far as the transaction is concerned, and the buyer will now take charge of taking the goods to wherever he wants to take them to. And this is normally associated with international trade. It's mostly used, this term is mostly used in international trade, where we have the use of ship in some cases, the use of roads, the use of air, so on and so forth. Then we go to term number 6, which is talking about cash sales. Cash sales is the term. Cash sales. Cash sales are types of sales where goods and services are bought and paid for. And paid for immediately. I won't say immediately here. We're not talking about at that particular time. It could be even beyond some days. We can still refer to it as cash sales, depending on the agreement between the seller and the buyer. It's the first to where the seller receives the cash consideration at the time of sales or delivery. At the time of sales, when the goods are sold, or at the time of delivery, when the goods are delivered. And we have types of cash sales. There are types of cash sales. We have the first one known as prompt cash, the second one known as spot cash, the third one known as cash with order, abbreviated as CWO. Then we have cash on delivery, also abbreviated as COD. Now let's look at them one by one quickly. The first one, which is prompt cash. It's a cash sales where the buyer is expected to pay within few days of delivery. Within few days of delivery. We call it prompt cash. The goods are sold, not on credit. Not on credit. But the goods will be paid, the amount for the goods will be paid on after a few days of delivery, depending on the agreement between the seller and the buyer. It refers to the payment terms for goods or services in which payment is due within few days, and usually not more than 14 days. Not more than 14 days of delivery of the goods. That's talking about front cash. We go to the next one, which is spot cash. This is the type of cash where money is paid immediately the goods are bought. You pay on the spot. When you buy the goods are not taken or will not be taken except money is paid for them. Then we have the third one known as, we have cash with order. Cash with order, which is abbreviated as CWO. This is where money is sent along with order. Remember when we're talking about documents used in buying and selling, we talk about order. So when a buyer is giving order or is sending order to the seller, commanding him to send goods to him, in the letter or in the order, he will send along with the money. The money for the goods will be there, whether it is cash or check. And the moment the order is received with the money or the check in it, the buyer will process for the sending of the goods. We call this cash with order, abbreviated as CWO. Now we go to the last one, which is known as cash on delivery. This is where goods are bought but paid for on delivery. It is when the goods are delivered that the buyer pays for them. And it is known or abbreviated as COD. It's a system of cash, so where the buyer is expected to pay immediately the goods are delivered. It is mostly used through the post office. It is sometimes called collect on delivery. It is sometimes known as collect on delivery or cash on demand. Collect on delivery or cash on demand. That's talking about the types of cash source. Now we go to the next item, which is credit source. Credit source. Credit source refers to where goods and services are bought and paid for later. Paid at a later time. Possession and or ownership is or are transferred from the seller to the buyer. The buyer is allowed to take possession of the goods, take ownership of the goods, and then pay for the goods later. This is what we call credit source or credit transactions. The difference between cash source and credit source is timing of payment. When is the payment made? Is the payment made later? Is the payment agreed to be paid later or to be paid instantly? That's just the difference between the cash source and the credit source. Now let's talking about the terms that we have for you. As far as this class is concerned, we have discussed 7 of them. We now go quickly to discuss some of the abbreviations. Though in our terms, we mention some abbreviations like COW, COD, and the rest of them. Now the first one we have here is FOB. FOB, which is known as free on board. And it refers to where price is quoted. And the price quoted covers all the cost of transportation up to the ship, including loading of the goods into the ship. Including loading of the goods into the ship. The price quoted is inclusive of loading the goods into the ship. And that's why it is called free on board. The moment goods are loaded on the ship, that's all. Then we have pass, which is known as FAS, free alongside ship. The price quotation includes all charges used to deliver the goods to the side of the ship, but excludes charges for loading the ship. In this case, the seller takes charge of taking the goods to where the ship is. Loading of the goods is not part of his agreement. It's not part of his job. He is not going to do that. It's the seller that will do that. The third one is Franco, which means the price of goods includes the cost of insurance, freight, and all other charges to the importer's warehouse. The moment the goods are taken to the importer's warehouse, then the seller stops everything. The buyer takes control. Then we have FOR, free on rail. This price quotation means that the seller has paid all the charges, including loading the goods on rail. The buyer takes over the charges such as insurance from then on. Then we have number 6, known as CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. The price includes cost of the goods, the insurance, and of course the freight. This is equally used or associated in terms of international trade. Then we have FOQ, free on queue. This is the term which the price includes only delivery to the queue for shipment. Then the last one we have, which is number 7, is FC, cost and freight. This means that the quoted price covers all charges, including the freight payable to the point of destination, while the buyer pays the insurance charges. In this case, there is no insurance. Insurance is not included. And that's all about what we have today in terms of trade terms, some trade terms, and abbreviations. We now go to assignment segment, and we have 3 questions, I think. The first one is saying, question 1A, what is discount? What is discount? B, distinguish between cash discount and trade discount. B, distinguish between cash discount and trade discount. Number 2, mention any 4 reasons for granting discount in the course of buying and selling of goods and services. Number 2, mention any 4 reasons for granting discount in the course of buying and selling of goods and services. Number 3, the last one, explain any 2 of the following trade terms. Explain any 2 of the following trade terms. A, cash with order. Cash with order. B, cash on delivery. Cash on delivery. And the last one, C, spot cash. C, spot cash. These are the questions that we have for you for your assignment. For your references, you can contact Essential Commerce for senior secondary schools by O.A. Longe, and then Comprehensive Commerce for senior secondary schools by J.U. Anyele. For your mission of assignment, as usual, you can submit using these contacts. Number 1, Abbas Shehu on 081 00 127 508. Again, Abbas Shehu on 081 00 127 508. And my colleague Yari Zakaria on the 080 656 94134. Yari Zakaria on 080 656 94134. Stay home, stay safe, keep learning. Have a nice time. See you in our next class.